You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? No.
I don't wear a mask like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away from it, and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen.
Not good. Believe me, not good. You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
Dumb people, liberal people.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? No.
You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
Dumb people, liberal people.
Hello, users, and welcome. This is Above It All. This is October the 6th, 2020. That's what today is. That's what's happening at this current moment in time. Hopefully y'all appreciated and enjoyed the new introductory experience. I'm still drinking my coffee, so please, let me just chug a little bit of this and I'll get going. Cloud says, Cyber Demon's daily morning livestream news update has quickly become an essential part of my morning routine. I rely on her no-nonsense breakdown and insightful analysis of the day's breaking stories. Imagine writing that. Thank you, Cloud. I appreciate that. Alrighty, G-Wolf says, I'll be here, but may not have much time to say smart-ass shit, since I'm at work. I also, G-Wolf, am at work, and my job is bringing you the news like a good, informed citizen would. And so this is breaking news. This is, and I'm not even joking. This is breaking news. There's no jokes here. I know that, you might have some sort of anticipatory reaction to hearing me say this is breaking news, but you have Tommy Lauren, saying that Joe Biden's mask makes him look feminine. And today, I would like to pose a question. Is it gay to have basic hygiene? I wonder. Now, keep in mind, the right wing, right, there is a poll done, and this poll is one of those polls I'll be talking about for the rest of my life. This is I'll be 35, 50 years old, right? And let's be honest, for transgender people, that's really pushing it, right? So I'll be 35, maybe 40, and I'll be talking about this poll, right? And I'll be saying, remember when there was a poll that said that 55% of Republicans in swing states did not take any hygienic precaution against COVID-19, and the pollster included and specified hand washing? There are a majority of Republicans that did not start washing their hands when coronavirus became a pandemic that was actually something to worry about. Now, it's presumably true that these people did not wash their hands before the coronavirus either, and that they just had no behavioral change. I find it somehow very difficult to believe that Republicans would wash their hands every day, right? And then as soon as coronavirus starts happening, they decide to stop washing their hands. That to me sounds like something that would not happen. But the idea that there's only 45% of Republicans that even know basic hygiene, I mean, honestly, that's not that far off the mark. Right? You've got people, right? The conservative kind of mindset is the kind of person that would rather kill somebody, right, at the thought of being gay, right, instead of like even remotely contemplating it, right? Masculinity, and this is why it's so weird for Tomi Lahren to say this, because she's like a stupid bimbo like white woman, right? But toxic masculinity is so bad that you get people that will literally commit murder before admitting that they might find someone who's a man attractive. It's a little bizarre. So here we have, right, Trump is on television gasping for air, unable to breathe. He can't breathe, folks. He just can't do it, right? He's trying. I'll give him I'll ruffle his hair and give him a nickel or something for the effort, but he's not really doing a good job. He's kind of losing it, folks. And so Tomi Lahren's addition to this discourse is saying that Joe Biden's mask makes him look feminine. And I'll be honest, right? I think Joe Biden's a piece of shit. But this is a good clip. He looks like he's tough, I'm tough. I'm Joe. I'm tough, right? It's going to be very interesting in the current media environment to see people's reactions to a Biden presidency. Like Tomi Lahren, give her 2-3 years. I wonder what she's going to be saying. I'm going to be very curious. These people that go full Trumper, like whenever like a Republican, go full on like Tea Party, right? Like during an election or whatever, they usually just kind of start disappearing. They start becoming a little bit more quiet a couple years later. I've noticed that trend. And so I'm very interested to see what Tomi Lahren will say in 3 years in a Biden presidency when Donald Trump has been dead for 2 years and 11 months, right? That's going to be a very interesting scenario. But either way, is it gay to have basic hygiene? I don't know. I can't answer that question. I don't know. I'm sorry. But yeah, so that's what we're dealing with today. That's the absolute state of American media. Yo Soy Daniel coming in hot with some incendiary remarks. The right wing is daft! ! Lol. Now, of course, Yo Soy Daniel, who previously, as of last night, exposed themselves for having 2 ex-wives, is now in the chat room telling us how bad right-wingers are and how they're daft. I'll accept that. I'll take it. Whenever I say right, it sounds like I'm praising Allah. I'm just throwing that out there. I'm just throwing that out there. So just in case anyone's curious, just in case anyone wants to know. You know what I forgot to do? This is something I normally do. I forgot to post the stream in the Discord server. I know, right? Like, this is so embarrassing. Like, this is, like, such an awful production. Imagine, like, actually watching these fucking broadcasts. Like, imagine, like, your cloud, right? CyberDemon's daily morning live stream news update has become essential part of my... Like, imagine that's your life. And here the stream starts, right? And I'm just, like, flubbing. I can't speak English. I forgot to advertise the stream. I'm talking to, like, 5 people because no one knows that the stream is even on, right? And let's be honest, no one's going to watch the VOD. Is anyone going to watch the VOD? No one's going to watch the VOD, right? Nobody's gonna watch anything. I'm done. Like, it's over. Like, I just messed up. I don't know what to do about it. But what I do know, and I do know things more than most Americans, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm smart, which I am, by the way, but I'm not trying to sound like I'm smart. I'm not trying to sound, like I'm better than anyone. I'm not trying to sound like maybe potentially that I'm above it all, at all. Maybe I am, maybe a little bit, maybe, I don't know. But either way, so there's a poll that was dropped by YouGov, and YouGov, a notoriously very bad pollster when it comes to actually getting, relative, they skew older. Let me just put it that way. So, what do Americans think socialism looks like? There's been a lot of talk in the United States of America, socialism. The right wing will love to decry anything that even remotely will help one person as socialist. Y'all gonna make some socialist. Y'all socialist. That's all you is. That's all you is. If anybody gets a Band-Aid when they scrape their knee after a biking accident, that's socialism. How dare you? Meanwhile, they drive on a road to work in a car that was funded, the R&D was funded by taxpayers, right? Like, that's not important right now. That's whatever, right? Whatever. But socialism is evil. Meanwhile, President Trump at Walter Reed Hospital getting the best care in the world, right? Those are all government employees, but socialism is bad somehow, right? It's government healthcare, the best healthcare in the world for Donald Trump. Donald Trump is out there saying, don't be afraid of COVID. We've got the best healthcare in this country. The best. We got tremendous healthcare. It's absolutely tremendous, right? Meanwhile, right, we have millions and millions and millions of people that don't have insurance. So are we allowed to go to the presidential suite at Walter Reed Hospital when I get coronavirus, right? Because I live in North Carolina, a red fucking bumfuck state. So I'm going to get coronavirus at some point. It's just a matter of time, right? There is no possible way, and you can quote me later, right? There is no possible way I'm running out the clock on this pandemic, right? I might be a loser that stays at home all day, but I'm still in a red state, so I'm owned. But can I, when I get coronavirus, like just phone up the president, hey, you said that the best care is available, right? So can I just stop on by the presidential suite, right? Can I just get my Sharpies and just like draw on the walls or whatever the fuck you were doing? I don't know. Somehow I think the answer would be no. But, so, we live in a country where socialism is a hot topic. People debate it almost every single day of their lives, especially with this election going on. So, that begs the question. Do Americans know what the fuck socialism is? Reminder, the right wing will always say, what do you want, Venezuela? Venezuela. God dang Venezuela. If you want kids to not starve, if you want a 16-year-old to be able to go to a doctor, that is the same thing as Venezuela. Right? That's what Republicans are saying, right? Now, again, that begs the question, do Americans know what the fuck they're talking about? Well, YouGov did a very helpful poll and actually decided and found out that no, Americans don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So, 3 in 10 Americans have a positive view of socialism. Do you have a favorable or unfavorable view of the following ideologies? Please select one option on each row. If you don't know what any of the terms mean, please select the not applicable option. Now again, what's interesting here is, again, socialism and communism are essentially, they're the same thing. Now, you can say that maybe there's like a strategical kind of like position difference in those given the historical, like, you know, kind of context of those labels, right? But the idea that communism has 10% and socialism has 31% when they're both the same ideology, that already is a giant red flag. That's already like, oh shit, I maybe shouldn't have taught all of these kids that the, you know, Soviet Russia was evil. That's going to come up again, by the way, when you've got generations of people that were told that that the Soviet Union was going to nuke them at any point, right? Even 25 years after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, spoiler alert, they still think Russia is a socialist country. Yeah, that's right. It's an oil tycoon oligarchy. But no. They're socialist over there. That's right. But then you've got like social democracy, right? That's got 45%. 45%. What? Social democracy. And again, really, what's the difference between social democracy and socialism? Like, are people really having these fucking debates? Well, I believe that maybe we should have a mixed market economy, and that I believe that healthcare should be in the government's hands, but maybe things like botany should... Like, what? Like, who the fuck is having these conversations? Who is the person that says, like, yes, well, I prefer social democracy, but social... I don't know, man. Like, that seems like a Twitter thing to me. I don't know. And then capitalism at 55%. Given the fact that capitalism, right, and we're going to get into this later in today's show, right, the Pope came out against capitalism. The Pope, right, now I'm not even saying, like, this isn't a joke, this isn't like, haha, like, what, look it up, motherfucker. The Pope came out not even against capitalism, but like viciously against capitalism. The Pope wasn't fucking around. So when you've got a country that will say, like, God bless America, and only 55% of them support capitalism, the Pope coming out, what do you think they're going to do when they hear that the Pope says capitalism's no good and socialism's the way to go? I don't know. But either way, 31%, that's not bad. That's not bad, right? Now again, let's look at the unfavorable numbers. 47% of people are unfavorable when it comes to socialism, but 40% are unfavorable when it comes to populism. Where's the 7% that goes, you know what? Is that like the Hills Rising viewer base? Like, is that what that is? The 7% that likes populism but not socialism? That sounds like it's right up the alley of Crystal Ball and Sagar and Jetty, personally. But let's go on. What healthcare systems do Americans think are socialist? Now, again, this isn't really like an approve, disapprove of things. Now, again, you have like only 40% of Americans say that they like socialism, right? Now, let's see, do they know what socialism is? This is where it gets a little tricky. A healthcare system that generally uses public sector doctors and hospitals where payment for treatment comes from a general taxation. Only 58% of U.S. adults think that that's socialism. Now, again, is that socialism? That sounds like maybe more like social democracy to me. Really, it depends on what we're defining as socialism, right? Like, the word socialism at this point really doesn't even have a definition. But if we're going to say that that's at least social democracy, 58% of U.S. adults, 69% of Republicans, good number by the way, think that that's socialist, and that that's bad? I don't know. I don't know what their analysis is here, but this doesn't really add on a layer of unfavorable or favorable at this moment. A healthcare system that generally uses private sector doctors and hospitals, where payment for treatment comes from a government-run insurance program that every citizen pays into. That's a little bit more socially democratic, less socialist for sure. But again, there's that weird gap. Like 58% of people think that the other one's socialist, and only 50% of think that this is socialist. But again, that's only half of Americans. Right, another half would say that that's not socialist at all. And I don't think that they're going to be making the same analysis that I'm making. Like, oh, is that really socialist? I don't really know. It kind of, like, I don't think that they're making that analysis. I just think that they don't know what the word means. A healthcare system that generally uses private sector doctors and hospitals, where payment for treatment comes from non-profit insurance funds that legally have to cover everyone and are paid for jointly by employers and employees through payroll deductions. Only 26% think that that's socialist. Right? A healthcare system that generally uses private sector doctors and hospitals where payment for treatment comes from private or workplace insurance policies or from out-of-pocket expenses. 11 people think that that's socialist, and that's how we work in the United States of America. Now, who are the 11%? By the way, 10%? Now, this is what's really bizarre. 10% of Republicans think that that's socialist, but 13%? Of Democrats think that that's socialist? What the fuck? Are those the Joe Biden voters? Are those like when I was doing door knocking in South Carolina, right, for Democratic voters to like in the primary to get them to vote for Bernie? I got a bunch of people that were like, I grew up in Russia. I would never support Bernie. Right? Is that kind of person that thinks that the United States is already socialist and we need to elect Joe Biden to end? So, like, what the fuck? 13%? Are they doing that because they think that Obama was socialist and the socialism is good and Obama passed healthcare reform like 10 fucking years ago or something? Like, is that what the fuck they're doing? I don't know. That's a little embarrassing. But it doesn't stop there at the embarrassment, okay? What policies do Americans consider to be socialist? Utility companies like gas and electricity are run by the government. Again, that is pretty fucking socialist as far as I'm concerned. But again, you have like what? Not even 70% of Republicans who think that that's socialist. It should be 100%. Don't they hate socialism? Come on, man. But if they admit that this is socialist, they can't actually have their hatred of socialism intact. It's kind of like a weird cognitive dissonance thing. They have to choose one here. The government provides free child care for all. Socialist. Most or all schools are run by the government. Socialist. This is an interesting one. The government completely or almost completely restricts the ownership of firearms. That's where you see a wide gap. Republicans are about 65% on that, right? And then 30% are Democrats. Now, that's not socialist. Socialists like guns. This is something I talk about frequently on my channel. Socialists actually like guns. We're pro-gun. So the idea that socialism is anti-gun, yes, that's only something a dumb fuck Republican could come up with. And I guess, 30% of Democrats, but whatever. They're pretty fucking stupid too. But yeah, so like you can read more of this yourself. Like you've got eyeballs. What am I gonna fucking enunciate all of them? I know that this might be an audio podcast at some point, but like go fuck yourself. I'm so sorry. I know. Look it up. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to be that rude, right? Just remember, look up the YouGov poll if you're listening to a future potential audio version of this show, which you're probably not, let's be honest. All right, gun control sounds much more like socialism to those who dislike socialism. Isn't that interesting, right? That's an interesting correlation, right? Really, really, really bizarre. Now, here's the thing. Which countries are socialist? Which countries are socialist? Now, again, The conservative right wing in this country thinks that like the Soviet Union and the Chi-Coms, they're gonna come and kill us all, and then they're gonna remove, I don't know, like movies from the movie theaters, even though there's a pandemic going on and we can't even go to the movies anyway. They're going to stop the production of video games, even though video games are basically just not even in production anyway because they're all fucking owned by corporatists, and all video games that are manufactured these days suck cock, right? But yeah, they're gonna come in. They're going to take away music. The Chi-Coms and the Soviet. Like, okay, so let's see. This is where we get to the very interesting stuff. Now, you only have about 35% of Democrats that think that China is socialist. Now, again, socialist, communist, I guess they mean the same thing. I don't know. To Republicans, they mean the same thing. Because you got 58% of China that thinks the Republicans are socialist. And I'm guessing that some of the other percentage of that I can't do, 42%, think that they're not socialist, they're communist, and that's even worse. And that was counted as like a no vote or something. That's what I would guess there. But then we have Venezuela. 60% of Republicans think that they're socialist, and only like 34% of Democrats think that they're socialist. Isn't that weird? Isn't that really weird? Isn't propaganda one hell of a tool? And then you've got Russia, which again is an oil-based capitalist, like oil tycoon fucking oligarchy, right? An authoritarian hellhole where they're like, will fucking track down and murder transgender people just for literally just going outside if they want to, right? And you've got 50 fucking 8%, 57%, whatever, of Republicans that think they're socialist. Vladimir Putin is a communist. Like, what? What? They're literally like, they haven't updated their fucking textbooks in 30 years. Like, these people are out of touch, and it shows. It's bizarre. It's strange, right? Well, let's look all the way at the bottom, and you see a reversal of the Republican-Democrat shift. You have 11% of Democrats that think the USA is socialist. What the fuck? Are you dumb? Are you stupid? Just because we had elected a black man and he did healthcare reform, that doesn't make us socialist. Hello? Like, how stupid are you, Democrats? Holy shit. But then you've got, like, that, like, 7% of Republicans that think that the USA is socialist. And those are the people that are like, the lying liberal left. They're gonna censor everything. The SJWs, they're trying to cancel you for wrong think. 1984. The deep state. We gotta drain, like, that's what that probably, like, small percentage is, right? But again, like, you just got these dumb fucks that don't know what socialism is, right? When you're at and let's go to the all U.S. adults thing. When you're just shy of 50% of people that think China is socialist, I don't know, man. That's actually kind of problematic when it comes to education. When 40% of U.S. adults think Russia is socialist, that's kind of problematic when it comes to education. What the hell is going on in this country? And again, this is the same country. You might be thinking old people are stuck up on textbooks from the Cold War era, right? But we got young people, and I covered this a couple weeks ago. Young people, 60-something% of young people don't know basic details about the Holocaust. So we got a fucking one hell of a problem. Fuck coronavirus. We got a pandemic of lack of education and disinformation campaigns in this country. Now, obviously, coronavirus is extremely serious. I don't want to make it seem like I'm being flippant about that. I know YouTube's a little bizarre lately, right? But, like, this is the thing. Like, there's so much going on in this country, and the population is just so fucking stupid. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Like, it really is. Like, again, it's just, like, it really just goes to show.
Dumb people, liberal people.
And that's really what I'm, like, that's the essence of this. That's the essence. That's the essence.
So stupid. So stupid. Thank you. Thank you.
Woof. Goddamn. Holy shit. Hello, Top Damage Wizard. Hello, S31 Cal. Hello, G Wolf. I already said hello to you. Hello, Mr. Freak. Hello, Dev J. I know you're going to talk about Kellyanne Conway's daughter. I don't have that queued up. I don't know, like, is it really? I don't really have anything to say on that front, to be honest. I kind of said almost. I think I said most of that yesterday, to be honest. But unless something else came out, like, I know she was on TikTok and all that stuff. But unless something else came out, I don't know. Yep, Mexico is socialist. 30% of Republicans think Mexico is socialist. Absolutely, facts and logic. You're absolutely right. They don't even have social science classes anymore. Dev J, Mex would be considered social democracy light because of the universal health care and some other programs. Sure, yeah, I'll take that. Why not? All right, so speaking... Actually, which one should I do? This is a good transition. Okay. Speaking of a good transition, hell yeah, right? So, on the subject of socialism and what Americans think about socialism, Joe Biden was asked to reassure people who hate socialism. I hate socialism. Socialism is the worst thing ever. Someday, far, far, far in the past, these authoritarians stole my grandparents' land. Now, they might have been plantations, but that's not important right now. The government stole our land. They stole them. It just, they took it right away, right under the rug. So, let's see. Is Joe Biden a socialist? Let's find out.
Welcome to Miami, Mr. Vice President. I was born in Hartford, Connecticut. I was raised in Hialeah, Florida, and I've been living in Coral Gables for the last 20 plus years. Cuban American and Venezuelan voters here in South Florida are being targeted with messages by the Trump campaign claiming that a vote for Joe Biden is a vote for the radical left and socialism and even communism.
Now, I just want to reiterate that during the debate, President Trump made it very clear that the radical left was gone. They're gone, Joe. I don't know, Bo. I know Hunter. He's a crackhead. By the way, the radical left, they're gone. You lost them, Joe. You lost them. You slept on them, Joe. So, meanwhile, right, so like the Trump campaign is saying that Joe Biden's too far right, the radical left, they're gone. Don't vote for him. That's the depress and suppress the turnout kind of game. But, on the other hand, he's energizing his base by saying, yeah, the radical left controls Joe Biden. So the radical left simultaneously controls Joe Biden and is gone and is all voting for Howie Hawkins. Interesting how that works.
What can you tell people in my family, my friends, who are understandably concerned with that issue, that would make them feel comfortable voting?
My family, they lost their homes in the Cuban Revolution. Now, I won't go into detail as to what they were doing at those homes, but they lost them. They were destroyed. Oh no.
For Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
And let me just point out we have about 3 or 4 minutes left.
I look like a socialist. Look, I'm the guy that ran against the socialists. Remember, I got in trouble in the whole campaign. 20-some candidates. Joe Biden was too centrist, too moderate, too straightforward. That was Joe Biden. I have taken on...
I love that. That was Joe Biden. And then he reminds himself, oh, wait, no, I'm Joe Biden.
the very people that, in fact, we're worried about. I've taken on the Castros of the world. I've taken on the Putins of the world. I've taken on all these dictators.
So remember in the poll I just covered where you had like a bunch of Democrats who think Russia is socialist? Apparently Joe Biden is one of them. Don't worry. I'm not a socialist. I've taken on Vladimir Putin. I have been head on with in 1-on-1. I 1v1'd him in Call of Duty, Vladimir Putin. So that means socialism has been defeated because that's Joe Biden. Wait, no, I'm Joe Biden?
I haven't cozied up to them. I'm the guy that's been straightforward with them. I'm the guy that let them know it stops here. It stops with me. It stops with me as president. I am no more a socialist than or a communist than Donald Trump is. Well, I won't say it. Anyway. So they need not
What was he
going
to say
Just
there?
Look at the record. There's not one single syllable that I've ever said that could lead you to believe that I was a socialist or a communist.
All right, we've got time for, I think, one more questioner. Mateo Gomez joins us now.
I love, look at this look of, discernment on his face, right? This guy is freaking the fuck out. It's like, did I do a good job? Did I make them think that I wasn't a socialist? Did I do a good job?
First-time voter came to the U.S.
Anyway, so, I think that's hilarious. I think Joe Biden trying to do this whole, I beat the socialist. I ran against the socialist. Meanwhile, Bernie is out campaigning for him, right? Is Joe Biden doing in-person rallies? Last time I checked, he hasn't really done any. Bernie Sanders, on the other hand, is doing rallies for Joe Biden. So this is the same situation that he was in with Hillary Clinton, where he's literally the only person, Bernie Sanders is literally the only elected Democrat, right, in the Senate, right, in leadership positions that actually, well, I guess he's technically an independent, but you know what I mean, right? He's the only one that actually wants Joe Biden to win. The rest are just kind of whatever happens, happens. It is what it is, right? The rest of them, they're not doing shit. They're all fucking around. They're not even really campaigning. They're just being an absolute disaster, like a spiral of cringe just going down the tubes. Like, I'm not a socialist. I ran against the socialist. I beat him. I beat the socialist. Meanwhile, the socialist is doing my dirty work. I don't want to do rallies. The socialist will do rallies for me. And when Joe Biden says that he beat the socialist, what he really means is that he beat America. He was able to rig the primary. He was able to have his phone a friend lifeline from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. He phoned a friend. Rest in peace, Regis Philbin, by the way. He phoned a friend. Barack Obama phoned a friend. All of a sudden, the American people were destroyed. You can't have health care, even during a pandemic. And they needed to make it abundantly clear. Health care? For poor people? What? I'm not a socialist. I've never been a socialist. I 1v1'd Vladimir Putin on Call of Duty, and I won. That's the message of the Joe Biden campaign. I'm still going to vote for him, though, because I'm a cuck. I'm bending the knee. God bless. Hello, Mr. Freak Glitcha. Bernie bends the knee again. IRL Nazi propaganda from Top Damage Wizard. Your enemies are infinitely weak and infinitely strong at the same time. Exactly. So bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Hello, WT Serves as well. Oh no, there's sugarcane plantations and casinos were nationalized. Poor oligarchs. I know, again, like, we're not going to go into that, right? Like, obviously, like, that's like someone who's like, the government came in, the union came in, states' rights, by the way, the union came in and killed a bunch of my brothers. And then and then they took my property. They just took my property. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that property was, but the socialist Americans took my property, invaded my Confederate country, and took my property. And now they make me participate in their republic. But my property! It's like, what property? What are you talking about again? What were you owning in your state? Right, okay, interesting. Like, God damn, it's so good. Oh, these people are dumb as hell. Speaking of people that are dumb as hell, and I want this to be very, very on the record. Speaking of people that are dumb as hell, dumb people, liberal people, right? Like,
Dumb people, liberal people.
right, so now, there was this kind of thing going around, right? That was like, Ilhan Omar stealing ballots. She's harvesting ballots. Ilhan Omar, she's Muslim. And we know that you hate Muslims, America. And she was harvesting. Just like she harvests the souls of children. She was harvesting ballots. So it turns out that the people involved in the Project Veritas smear campaign against Ilhan Omar, oops, they lied, right? There's multiple reports showing that the people involved, they didn't do what they were, like the video shows. Like, the video was selectively edited, had horror film trailer music on. It made it look like something that it wasn't. Also, these people were paid. These were reenactments. And also, these people weren't even familiar with the idea. They thought that they were doing a reenactment for like a movie or something, or a video project. Little did they know they were doing a reenactment for a smear campaign. And by the way, Trump was talking about this at his rallies. Trump was at a rally, actually, and I should have video for this, but I don't. Trump was at a rally a couple days ago before the COVID thing happened for him, saying that we need to send Ilhan Omar back. She is trying to harvest ballots. She's illegally harvesting ballots. And then the whole fucking crowd was like, lock her up! Lock her up! It's really bizarre, right? Interesting. So, let's read this article. I've got this article and I've got this article from Fox News, by the way. Fox News is even in on this. That's interesting, right? So, in a 25-minute video on a Minnesota-based Somali American TV, a program that provides news and information about Somalis and broadcasts online via social media channels, Omar Jamal speaks in Somali about the election fraud story. Omar Jamal specifically alleges that he thinks a clip that purports to show a ballot harvester paying a voter $200 in exchange for a vote was instead a demonstration of how that process allegedly works. This is not an example of systemic voter fraud. This is like, right, if you're watching like one of those crime shows, right, on TV, and they do the criminal reenactments where they do like the documentary overlay narration, right, and they have like the guy burglaring someone in the middle of robbing someone and then pulls a gun and shoots a grandma, right? But it's all a reenactment, right? Like, it's a really badly acted reenactment because it's on, like, really low budget television, right? And the main thing is just, like, it's an audio podcast, but they're like, we need to have a video component. That's what these people thought that they were doing, apparently, right? They thought that they were doing an enactment of this is how ballot harvesting, if it were to be illegalized and done illegally and taken advantage of, this is how it would work. And then James O'Keefe, right, because he's a brain genius, he's an absolutely intelligent guy, he goes around and he says, no, this is real footage. This is what this is. And then you have President Trump at a crowd chanting, send her back, lock her up, right? It's really bizarre. So, and then we got the other participant, right? Laban Osman is still trying to figure out how he became a symbol of voter fraud in America. It's insane, said the brother of a newly elected Ward 6 Minneapolis councilman Jamal Osman. Laban Osman is featured prominently in a video released last week by the conservative media operation Project Veritas, claiming that there is massive voter fraud in Minnesota orchestrated by Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Now, apparently these ballots weren't even related to Ilhan Omar. Apparently they were related for something else. I don't know. So that's why it's even funnier. In his first interview, Laban Osman tells the Fox 9 investigators, interesting that Fox is on this, right, that he was offered $10,000 by community activist Omar Jamal to say he was collecting ballots for Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. He was setting me up, said Laban Osman. It's clear from the raw video obtained by Fox 9 that Laban Osman was working for his brother's campaign. I'm so sorry. My body is breaking down. Laban Osman admits that Project Veritas video footage looks incriminating, but he says that the group deliberately left the full context out on the cutting room floor. Interesting quote. Project Veritas used two separate videos he posted on Snapchat while driving in his car to make it appear as if he was illegally picking up ballots and offering money for votes, he said. In a video from July, Laban Osman said he was collecting mail-in ballots from sick and elderly voters who had requested them through his campaign. Laban Osman denies that he was filling out ballots or altering them in any way. He said what appears to be open ballots laying on the dash of his car are actually the envelopes the ballots came in. He said voters concerned about identity theft asked him to shred the envelopes. Despite his boast that he had 300 ballots in his car, he said the actual number was closer to 20. Now, like I said when the video first came out, it's more than likely that this is some dude who's trying to just act like a Billy Badass on Snapchat, just saying, like, look what I'm doing. I'm having a good time. I'm making money, right? I'm doing a community service, trying to, like, just make himself puff himself up a bit. And that's no problem. You're allowed to puff yourself up every now and then, right? Because of various court decisions, the so-called ballot harvesting, collecting more than the statutory limit of 3 ballots was permitted during a 5-week period this summer from July 28th to September 4th. An attorney for Project Veritas claims Laban Osman's Snapchat videos collecting mail-in ballots were recorded in early July, making it illegal at the time to harvest more than 3 ballots. Laban Osman could not recall the exact date he recorded the video, but he said he believed it was in late July. That video from July is edited with another video from August, where Laban Osman is heard boasting about money in politics. Money is everything. It's the key to the world, he says. The unedited video reveals the comments were clearly directed at his brother's 11 opponents in the Ward 6 special election, many of whom were operating shoestring campaigns. Why are you defending Ilhan Omar? Laban Osman says he was approached by community activist Omar Jamal, who is a so-called insider for Project Veritas, and appears to be their primary source. Omar Jamal said he had not met previously, told him Project Veritas would pay him $10,000 to say he was harvesting ballots for Ilhan Omar. I wonder why. Is it because most Republicans are afraid the Muslim woman, I know she's very short and very frail and skinny, but she's gonna kill us all! The Muslim woman, she has brown skin and she's gonna kill us! We gotta send her back! We gotta lock her up before she these people are crazy, right? So yeah, it has nothing to do with Ilhan Omar, but we gotta make it about Ilhan Omar. We gotta get those clicks. And that's really the thing about this, right? That's the thing about this. Of course Project Veritas was lying. Of course. Duh. Why wouldn't they be lying? What else do they have to do? And the idea that the President of the United States is just reading these things, watching these fucking videos from known liars that are like doing like meme montages. Like, this is shit that I could do. I could edit a fucking few things out of context, add horror fucking like movie trailer music onto it, and then add like weird looking transitions and like fucking screen tearing and shit. Like, that's not hard. That's basic editing, and you have the President of the United States getting fooled by this kind of stuff. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Believe me?
So stupid. So stupid. Thank you. Thank you.
It's just Goddamn. PETA Republican state scandal? I have not heard of that. I love coffee. Coffee is like really good. Just like throwing coffee out there. Like just throwing it out there. It's good. It's good, folks. Believe me. It's so good. Hopefully y'all are enjoying today's program. WT Serves says, same modus operandi as the wall guy. Now under federal investigation, you would get people off Craigslist. Yep, exactly. And stage some crap, film it, and hold a press conference on his porch. Been doing it for years. Literally. Literally. And so, like, a little bit of biography for me. I come from the speedrunning community online. And there's a lot of fuckers in the speedrunning community that, like, splice speedruns. Where, like, you know, speedrun is beating a game as fast as possible in one sitting, right? So that's kind of hard. So sometimes people will splice speedruns, and so they'll have, like, 4 different runs, but, like, put the parts together to make it look like it's one run, right? With basic video editing, right? Like, I remember there being, like, all these big exposés on this kind of stuff, right? And it's like, it's really funny because, like, again, when you see the kind of people in the speedrunning community that would splice speedruns, they look legit, right, most of the time. And then you look at the people that splice the speedruns, the video editors, and they're dullards. Like, these people are, like, dumbest of the dumb. Like, you got, like, some real dumb motherfuckers that are capable of using a video editor, like Jacob Wall and James O'Keefe, right, in the political fucking scene, and they're able to convince the President of the United States about some random bullshit. That's the thing. It's like, I'm a video editor, right? I know how dumb people that are video editors can be, right? So it's just the idea that one of those people could just make a little, like, meme trailer, and all of a sudden the president is trying to, like, start up chants to get, like, people to want to kill a fucking Muslim congresswoman. It's just bizarre to me. It's strange. It's absolutely bizarre. Speaking of things that are strange that I never thought I would say, I am officially in support of the Pope. As of this moment, everybody, Pope Francis is my guy. So the Pope says that the free market and trickle-down policies are failing society. Pope Francis said on Sunday that the COVID-19 pandemic was the latest crisis to prove that market forces alone and trickle-down economic policies that have failed to produce social benefits their proponents claim. In an encyclical, I've never heard of this word before. Holy shit, I'm learning new things on a live broadcast. Encyclical. A paper letter to all bishops of the... Oh, no wonder I've never heard of that. Okay. In an encyclical on the theme of human fraternity, Francis also said private property cannot be considered an absolute right. What? Dude, the Pope is coming out as an anarchist right now. The Pope is like, abolish private property, motherfucker. Yo, shout-outs to the Pope. Legit, this is my guy. In all cases where some lived extravagantly while others had nothing. Again, these, like, Christian fundamentalist QAnon people want to deprive children of health insurance. Meanwhile, they worship a book where some dude was trying to, like, basically steal rich people's gold and give it to poor people, where some dude was trying to feed the poor, right? I love worshiping a book about someone who is feeding the poor. Jesus was a socialist, by the way, by saying that children shouldn't have health insurance. That is the way, the ideal way to worship Jesus is to not provide children with health care, right? If a child has diabetes or something, can't have insulin, they can't do it because that would just insult the free market. And I love Jesus personally. I'm a Jesus-loving Christian. I'm a Catholic, right? So obviously kids can't have health insurance, clearly, right? So some more good parts about this. The Pope took direct aim at trickle-down economics, the theory favored by conservatives that tax breaks and other incentives for big business and the wealthy will eventually will benefit the rest of society through an investment or job creation. There were those who would have had us believe that freedom of the market was sufficient to keep everything secure after the pandemic hit. He wrote, Francis denounced this dogma of neoliberal faith. Again, anarchist Pope going out here, man. Anarchist Pope just coming out, right? Like, just like anti-fucking capitalist Pope. The neoliberals, they're gone. The faith is gone. That resorts to magic theories of spillover or trickle as the only solution to societal problems. And again, this is the Pope. This is a guy who believes in like playing a flute for a snake, and that like, you know, like people were eating apples or something, and then all of a sudden God decided to kill everyone. This guy, right, who believes in this magical fucking fairy tale bullshit, is calling neoliberalism and conservative ideologies magical. Isn't that interesting? Like, this guy can see through that kind of bullshit, and they believe in talking snakes, right? Like, that's bizarre. A good economic policy, he said, makes it possible for jobs to be created and not cut. Empire of money. The Pope is a communist. The Pope is an anarchist. He's bringing it back, folks. The Pope is coming back. The Pope wrote that the belief of early Christians that if one person lacks what is necessary to live with dignity, it is because another person is detaining it. That is absolutely correct. Was still valid. Again, Jesus was a socialist. He was trying to feed the poor, take from the rich, and give to the poor. He was trying to give people food. He was trying to make sure that people were alive, right? Make sure people were healthy, right? Got proper nutrition. Now, they didn't know much about nutrition back then, but damn, they fucking tried, right? Those with much must administer it for the good of all, and rich nations are obliged to share wealth with poor ones. But he said he was certainly not proposing an authoritarian and abstract universalism. So again, the Pope is coming out as an anarchist, buddy! Like anarcho-popism in here. Addressing racism. Anarcho-Catholicism is my new religion. Addressing racism, a key issue in the United States following the Black Lives Matter movement, Francis said racism is a virus that quickly mutates, and instead of disappearing, goes into hiding and lurks in waiting. Anti-racist, anti-fascist, anti-capitalist Pope Francis coming out to play. He repeatedly calls for the abolition of nuclear weapons, the death penalty, positions which have been assailed by conservative Catholics, particularly in the United States. Dude, anti-bomb, anti-death penalty. Dude, WTF? I love the Pope now. This guy's awesome. I'm going to become a Catholic as of this very moment. So, that's just, again, you love to see it. Now, where are all the religious nutbags, right, that vote Republican? Are they going to have a response to this? I'd love to see their response. I would love to see their response to this. Are you really going to go against the Pope? Are you going to say the Pope doesn't know what he's talking about? Really? You're going to go against the Pope? Really? I'd love to see that. Please leave a comment down below, and I will see that when I see it, and I will try to respond to that comment. And if you want to come on my show and tell me why the Pope is wrong about Catholicism, I would love that. But let's be honest, that's not going to happen. So, anyway, anarcho-Catholicism, that's my new religion. That's my new political ideology. We're bringing this shit back. Christianity, right? You got like the kind of good version that the Pope is espousing, and then you got the really cringy version that says you got to murder transgender people, and I'm not a huge fan of that. So like that's bad, right? Let's get that out of there. Let's bring in this anti-capitalist kind of version. I think it's good. So, that's cool. Pope owns 2 square blocks less than the Queen of England. Guess he'll be redistributing a bit of the Vatican. Yeah, I don't think the Pope is going to do anything about it himself. But honestly, you know what? He's the Pope. You know, let him have it, right? Let Jeff Bezos pay some taxes. Damn, that's cool as hell, dude. Yeah, again, hopefully y'all are enjoying this broadcast. Like this is a broadcast right here. That's what this is. This is a broadcast. No, that's what we got going on here. We got a broadcast. Anyway, so coming up next, I would like to talk about some stuff going on. Yes, that's what the show is about. So in Washington D.C., there have been reports that I am seeing of federal police showing up at people's homes and trying to arrest people without arrest warrants and without search warrants. Now, apparently, the people don't live there. Now, again, do we know if they don't live there? Chances are they might live there, and the people are lying to protect them, which they should, by the way. But this is something that's been an interesting phenomenon over the last few weeks. And Chuck Modi, who is based in D.C., tweets about this often. He's been a little bit on top of this whenever I see it. Police in D.C. have been raiding people's homes. They've been just kind of like bashing people's doors in who maybe held a megaphone at a protest like 3 months ago, right? And it's really strange. They're taking this whole like authoritarian, anti-freedom, anti-First Amendment thing very seriously. And so we have some videos here of the cops just kind of standing there looking like they're like in a buddy cop movie, and they're like doing a really bad job of it, and this is like one of those blooper reels, right? And like they're just kind of there, they're just kind of being cops. So let's listen to what they have to say. By the way, I just want to say, mocking cops to their faces, love to see it.
You guys are getting too close. You're not 6 feet.
I just like, it's so cringe, dude. It's so cringe. But again, you can see that the thing about this is there's crowds of people developing. And this is another thing that I wanted to talk about. Is like when you have that community solidarity, when you have that mobilization, right? The cops are going to need to bring in a lot more people and to start fucking around if they want to actually do anything. Two people that think they're in a buddy cop movie, right? They're not going to be able to do anything when you got crowds of people defending people. And that's what's actually beautiful here. Now, again, we got a little bit of what this person has to say. They were apparently there on the scene and would like to tell the world. So let's just play this.
Well, police officers, one plainclothes and one in park police uniform, that were kind of milling around in the front yard, and then they moved out to the sidewalk. And so I came up and started recording.
Holy moly.
We're kind of milling around.
I don't know how to use Twitter, I'm so sorry.
Moved out to the sidewalk. And so I came up and started recording. Gradually more people showed up. Another plainclothes officer showed up. And just the crowd grabbed it, like grew and grew. And eventually they said that they had an arrest warrant, but not a search warrant, so they couldn't enter the property. They said that they found or saw somebody who used to live here, and they had a arrest warrant for that person. She has not lived here for at least a year. And so, yeah, they came back.
Did they give any more?
Isn't that interesting, by the way? Like, this is one, like a very similar situation that happens all over the place. Is you have cops that will go to an address that they think someone is at, and like they don't think to check, like, oh, has anyone else registered this address? Like, maybe that if they look up that person, it will say that that was their last known address, right? Because they haven't, like, they're off the grid or something, right? But like they never think, let me look up this address, see if anyone else moved in the last, like, 365 days or something. They never think about that. And isn't that really strange? Isn't that really bizarre that cops never think about doing basic things? They would rather drive on out there in their carbon-emitting, gasoline-using cringe cars, right? Go there with no masks on, endanger people's safety. These people are government officials. And right now, the White House is coming down with a bad case of fleas when it comes to this virus. So as far as I'm concerned, if you work for the government and you're in Washington, D.C., stay the fuck away from me. Put a fucking hazmat suit on. We know you have the money. We pay taxes, right? Trump even pays a little bit of taxes. He's like a little guy. He's paying little bits of taxes just like, a fast food worker maybe. Not really. I'm just fucking around. But isn't that really interesting?
More information as if they might come back, or was there any other information that you ascertained?
They did say, go in and get her. They thought they saw somebody who looked like her, so I think it was just a case of mistaken identity. And then we could just leave. But they said, you're making this difficult the hard way, so we can go get a search warrant, and then we'll come kick in the door.
They said that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I think
those were things left. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Cool. Bye.
So yeah, isn't that interesting? This is what's happening in Washington, D.C., in apparently a country that values freedom of speech. They're just going around, and I covered this a couple weeks ago as well, where someone else had their home raided by police. Like, imagine just going home. Now, imagine, going home. Now, imagine this scenario. You go home, right, long day at work. There's a pandemic going on, by the way, right? There are protests in the streets. People are getting shot by police on a daily basis, right? So you go home, and you see that your entire apartment is trashed. and you wonder, what the fuck happened? Did I get robbed? And you call the cops, and the cops say, oh yeah, we had a search warrant for your roommate because they held a megaphone at a protest, and so we decided to destroy your house. No, you weren't robbed. And we're not going to do anything because we destroyed your house. Like, imagine doing that. Like, imagine that that's your life. And that's what the absolute state of this country is. They're just going around and harassing the shit out of people for protesting. Why? Because they can. And they've got nothing better to do. Are they going to solve crimes? Are they going to solve homicides? Maybe figure out rapists' identities? No. No, 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 no. Because this all comes from one of Trump's lovely little things.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? No.
Exactly. Isn't it wonderful to allow protesting? Donald Trump says no. And that's why there are federal troops trying to go to people's houses and kick in their doors just to fuck around with them, just to scare them, because it's all about fear. It's all about suppression. It's all about authoritarianism. It's all about making sure that you feel uncomfortable to exercise your First Amendment right. And this is exactly why we have a First Amendment right anyway to freedom of speech. This is why the Constitution wasn't enough, and we needed to amend it with a Bill of Rights. And this is why the First Amendment was to guarantee people freedom of speech, because they didn't want people to be persecuted for their beliefs. Now, obviously that didn't apply to anyone who wasn't white, right? But, you know, the founders were a little cringy on that regard. But it's interesting to note that it didn't apply to all people back then, doesn't apply to all people right now. Yet, meanwhile, right-wingers want to claim the mantle of free speech? What? I'm glad that anarchism is getting more mainstream. I'm glad that left-wing ideas are finally being retaken by left-wingers. This whole, I'm a right-winger and I support free speech grift was really annoying for the past like 5 or 6 years, and I'm glad that things are finally balancing out. But they don't balance out without pain. They don't balance out without suffering. And as DC protesters can tell you, the cops there, especially federal agents, they're fucking crazy. They're nuts. They're nuts. I've lived there. I've lived in D.C. I have seen cops and their behavior. These people are nutbags. So stay safe if you're protesting. Try to keep your identity a secret at all times. You know, don't wear a mask just for coronavirus protection. Wear hoods, right? And I'm not even joking. Wear hoods. Wear, like, gas masks if you can, right? Wear baggy shorts if you can. Or not shorts, but, like, pants. That way people can't see your figure, right? You need to hide your identity to the best of your ability, because these cops will do their best to track you down and scare the shit out of you, because they're psychos, and that's what they do. Yo Soy Daniel says, it's really frightening how Trump can grant tacit consent just with a few words, and then the cops act out badly. Fascio. When you use those like weird like Greek alphabet word like letters, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. Fascio. Fasci. I don't know. Why not just be fasci? I don't know. Like, you have to have that like weird Greek numeral or whatever the fuck in there. Why American Redditors defend so much HK protesters, not their own protesters? Because it's all a grift? Hey, Ultralight J. Morning, Andrea. What was your Silent Hill 2 time last night? Like 2:06, I think? Get a Halloween costume you can wear year-round, like a Trump mask. Oh my god. Ski Craze Teddy, who's a frequent viewer and Discord user, had the idea to dress up as zombie Trump for Halloween, with the implication that Trump will die between now and Halloween. I thought that's really funny. I thought that's such a good idea. And just a reminder, just a quick little tidbit here. We should all be having Herman Cain in our membranes. And reminder, Herman Cain said he was doing fine. Right? 3 days later, he dropped dead. So as soon as Donald Trump comes out of the hospital after round 2 of Corona, right, and he's going to say he's doing great, tick, 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 tick. I can't wait to watch what happens next. Anyway, so I've got one more thing I want to talk about today. And this is like more like kind of, you know, tactic stuff. This is pretty cool. I like this, right? I like this. This is good stuff. All right, so one thing when it comes to interacting with police that you can do, and this is, you know, this is why coordination, strategization, mobilization, and organization is so important. You need to have people who know what to do when the time comes. But one thing that is true is that de-arrests work All you need is enough people. So let's watch this clip. This fucking face mask right here, whatever that is, that looks like a fucking skin out of like fucking Call of Duty. Like this guy is literally LARPing right now.
Why are you doing this to her? Why are you doing this?
They're literally dragging this person. Right now, we don't know, obviously, we don't know what happened to them to put them in this situation, but it doesn't look like anyone was shot. Doesn't look like anyone is bleeding. So what crimes may have been committed? I don't know. Maybe this person was speaking too loud. Maybe they had a megaphone, and that's a no-no in a country with a freedom of speech amendment, right? Can't have a megaphone. It's freedom of speech, but freedom from loud speech as well. That was actually amended into the First Amendment. So what happens here is the crowd of protesters decide to just dogpile this person, right? Wrap them up in like a sacred shield. And the police, what are they going to do? Arrest all of them? Do they really have like the resources for that? I'm not sure. And this is why community solidarity is so important.
We're trying to get you the fuck away from there. You're not hurt the fuck up there. Everybody back the fuck up. Let's go. Eric, get your car out. Get over there. Go. Get the car out. Go over there. Go. Go over there. Get off of the road and stay on the fucking track. Go. Let's go. Back up. If you're not part of the plan, back up. We will get her. Let's go. Get off of the fucking road and get Let's go.
So as you can tell, the cops are piecing out, and the tactic appears to have worked. Now again, if this person was identified, the police may track them down at a later time, but de-arrest as a tactic is something that's very important at protests. But again, you got to be careful when you do this kind of stuff. If there is a violent riot situation, right, and police are just running around beating people's skulls in, de-arresting in this fashion might not be as effective, right? But I've covered videos of de-arrests during a lot of the heavier portions of the Portland unrest, and you know, it still was effective. Having 2 or 3 people just kind of jump on a cop and try to like pull someone away from them, it works. And instead of having 2 or 3 people, if you have 15 people, like, let's see the cop commit a Boston Massacre round 2 kind of a situation. I dare them. Right? Are they really going to do that? Chances are they won't. Chances are they'll just bait a bitch out and run away like the cowards that they are. And that's one thing you have to imagine. That's one thing you have to keep in mind, is that community solidarity will always overpower police presence, right? It's just a matter of how organized and how strategized you are. If you actually plan things out, like if something goes south, we all decide to just like dogpile someone, jump on them, and just like, you know, try like hug each other. What are the cops going to do? I don't know. I'd like to find out, though. What are you going to do, cop? Huh? Cop? What are you going to do? I don't think they're going to do anything. But again, you got to be careful, because de-arresting can always lead to a worse situation unless you've got the numbers. If you're just one person and someone's being arrested and you decide to run in there by yourself, that's a no-no. Talk to the people around you. Make a plan, even if it takes 30 seconds, a minute. Make a plan, get as many people as you can to participate in something. Never do anything alone, because that is what the cops are going for. That is what their ideas are. Don't do things that you could get hurt by doing, especially if you're by yourself. And I've been to protests, and I can tell you, you don't want to be by yourself. You don't want to be in a violent situation by yourself, and you definitely don't want to try to be a hero by yourself, because those are all recipes for disaster. But yeah, that's basically today's show. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. hopefully y'all enjoyed. That LARP mask is a standard Oregon Pacific Northwest fascio LARP virtue signaling fashion. Yeah, it's just also really cringy. Was that obstruction of justice? Damn fucking right it was. Law and order. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I've got queued up as far as talking about right now. I will see y'all later. I'm going to do another Path of Exile stream, like the one I did yesterday. I'm going to do another one of those. So if you liked yesterday's Path of Exile stream, where I'm just kind of chilling there for a couple of hours, just kind of shooting the shit, talking about whatever, that's going to happen again. The Spook Fork U Lar will also be getting an update tonight. I don't know what I'm playing yet. But I'll figure it out. I don't think I'll do Silent Hill 2 again. I'll wait until Sunday for that. But I might play Silent Hill 3. I might try it. I'm not sure. We'll see. All right, just give me a break, right? Just give me a break. So anyway, again, I hope you enjoyed the show. I don't know what to say. I don't like. What do you want me to say? Is it over? I think it's over. I think it's over. Holy shit. I think it's over.
You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is. 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 It is what it is.